Hey guys, this is Hbkgrand from Dark Shinobis. I'm making a video about my Mirage Primes build today. She came in with 5 polarities, so now I just needed to add 2 more to complete her build. But if you feel like you want to adjust or whatnot, feel free to. But in my opinion, like the builds that I'm gonna show you guys are like really OP. Along with the Mirage Prime, Hbkgrand Prime and Kogake Prime came out as well as secondary and a melee weapon. So I will share the link for their builds below as well. Now coming back to Mirage Prime, if you do not get the access pack and still trying to farm for her, she's really easy to farm. But if you still fail to farm her completely, her market price is dropping rapidly, and by the end of the week or two she should be below 100 platinum, but right now she's somewhere between 200 to 250 plat. Now if you go by pressing the R2 button, you see the abilities for Mirage. So the passive ability for Mirage is basically long lasting slide, which means when you're jumping around and you hold L1, you go into the slide mode, so you will slide longer than other Warframes. Faster acrobatic maneuvers is basically when you're jumping around, especially using your Hall of Mirrors where you have doppelgangers, it makes it difficult for the enemies to target you or do damage to you. Coming back to the first ability, the Hall of Mirrors for Mirage, basically you need to build her for duration and damage, so that's what exactly we are doing here for this build. So you have about 53.75% damage, so you can go about 58%, so just another 6 seconds or something, but it doesn't do that much of a difference, so 53 is more than enough in my opinion. So that's basically what the Hall of Mirror is, and basically one thing in that is the doppelgangers. So once you max out your Warframe to 30, you're gonna get 4 doppelgangers, which is like the copy of Mirage. So you're gonna get 4 copies of Mirage. One thing to remember though, Mirage, when you're using the Hall of Mirrors, she acts like a multi-shot kind of a thing. So let's say you have a weapon which has like 1000 damage. So once you use the Hall of Mirror, each doppelganger will get like the damage will be divided on each of the doppelgangers. So since there are 5 mirages right there, so divided by 1000, each doppelganger, including the original mirage, will be doing about 200 of damage. The sleight of hand is basically you drop like a jewel where enemies get attracted to it and then it explodes, and the explosion damage you see over there is 360, so I'm not really into it, but it does distract them, so it's kind of like a good thing. So, and then basically it can help you like evade enemies and whatnot while you're trying to run away or something. The Eclipse is the third ability, where if you're standing in the light area, so like if you see, like let's say you go into the Plains of Eidolon and there's the daytime, you're going to be doing a lot of damage when you have Eclipse active. So your damage increase boost will be about 360%. Whereas if, like, let's say you go into the Plains of Eidolon at nighttime, so it's harder to see when you do it, any damage that you're going to take is going to be reduced by 95%. So about the like the Eclipse augment mod, which you get from the syndicates, I'll show you in the build. So if your allies are with you at that point, because of that augment mod, they can get the 100% benefit of Eclipse as well. Prism is like it kind of like blinds the enemies and damages them as well, so it's kind of like, everybody calls it the disco ball. So when you shoot it out, it's actually doing damage, it's doing like basically blinding the enemies at the same time. So, and it does consume your energy, so like you need a lot of energy for it as well. So that's pretty much it for the abilities for Mirage. So coming back to the builds, so I have basically two types of builds, basically, you could say. The Grenier Infested Corpus, you could count them as one build, and Eclipse as the second one, because the Grenier, the Corpus, and the Infested, they just have like a little bit of difference in some mods. Otherwise the rest of the stuff is the same. So the Grenier and the Infested, I put Corrosive Projection on because the Greniers and the Infested always have a high armor, so because of that I put a Corrosive Projection there, so it reduces their armor by 30%. Cunning Drift because of some ability range, some friction, and some slide. So like because of a passive ability, as I said, this gives her fast maneuverability. Vitality, I put it up there because Greniers and Infested do slash damages, toxin damages, so it's more towards your health. So that's why Vitality helps out more than getting Shield because of their damage to your health directly. Then I have Prime Flow, which gives me energy. Then I have Narrow-Minded, which increases my duration and reduces my range, so we're not looking for range in this one. Hall of Malevolence. Basically, this is an augment mod which your doppelgangers get. So each time you kill your enemies using while your Hall of Mirror is active, so the first ability for Mirage, the Hall of Malevolence comes into play, and you get a bonus 5% damage, basically. So, and what happens is that the highest you could go is about 50%, so you can do a lot of damage while your Hall of Mirrors are active. That's why you need about 53 seconds. Next up is the energy conversion. Now this plays a wider role over on this build because we have 180% strength. So to increase for the Eclipse or the Prism if you want to, or the Sleight of Hand, once you have picked up an energy orb by killing an enemy, the energy conversion comes into play, and you have to cast the ability, either the Sleight of Hand, the Eclipse, or the Prism, whichever one you like. What this will do is your strength will from 180% will go all the way up to 230% because of that energy conversion. So make sure you have that on there. The continuity, again, for the duration, the transient fortitude for the strength and duration, reduction in duration. Now you could use a blind rage over here with the rank 7 or 8 but in my opinion you don't really need to because of the efficiency part, so I just use an intensify. So that's completely up to you guys. Next up is the Corpus. So the difference between the previous and this build is basically two mods, the Aura mod and the redirection instead of the Vitality. The Shield Disruption Aura mod you can get from alerts. It actually reduces the shields, like the enemies, like basically the Corpus, you gotta kill their shields first and then go for their health. Otherwise you need to use like Toxic or Viral to get to their health quickly. So, but Shield Disruption helps that out, and Redirection is the opposite effect. Basically, the Corpus, they attack your health, they attack your shield directly. So just keep that in mind, guys. So so you don't really need to worry about your health at the time. The more shield you have, the less the Corpus will have to, the less time you will die, because the Corpus actually attack your shield first, then go towards your health. Then we have the Prime Flow, they're narrow-minded, the Hall of Malevolence again, the Prime Continuity, Energy Conversion, Transient Fortitude, and Intensify. Next up is the Eclipse setup. So you could change for the Corpus Aura mod or the Grenier Infested Aura mod, completely up to you. Then we have the Cunning Drift again. For the Vigor here, basically I used it so you could take it to any of them, but if you're comfortable with putting Vitality or Redirection for Grenier Infested, or the Corpus, so that's completely up to you. Then I put Prime Flow over here, then I put some Armored Agility. Actually the reason behind this is with Mirage Prime, she has more armor besides the regular Mirage, so she has a little bit more armor, so it is actually good. So, and the sprint speed helps you because of her passive ability. Now I have the total Eclipse augment on over here. So what this will do is when my allies are close by, they can actually get in on the action for the Eclipse as well. So they can get the benefits, like if they can take less damage, or they can increase, they can get a boost for the damage. Then I have the Streamline for efficiency, Prime Continuity for duration, Ability and Strength for the Transient Fortitude, and Blind Rage for the Strength as well. So I put a little bit of Strength. I took off Energy Conversion, but if you want to put Energy Conversion instead of Blind Rage, you can do that as well. So pretty much this is the setup for it. So I will just demonstrate basically a little bit. So we'll just go with the Eclipse one at the moment. So we'll just go to a COD or something, and I will show you guys how this system works basically. So we'll make it over here. Now, as you can see, basically, I'm gonna go with the Doppelganger, the first ability. So with this, I won't get the 50% bonus damage, but if I go with the Eclipse, you're gonna see me do a lot of damage. So since I have that effect, you could see about 16,000, and I'm using the Hbkgrand, so I will share the link for that as well. So you could basically use this Eclipse in order to get the job done. But you could see the damage being divided, so that was about 8,000 between the enemy, between the doppelgangers. And once you do that, you're gonna constantly be going in for your Eclipse. As well as if you drop, like you'll see that prism right there, enemies will get distracted to them and it will destroy them. And it creates like a radial blind, plus like it helps in attacking them. Next up, I'll just use the prism, so you could see it does damage and does clear to them. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys have any questions, any comments, you can leave it in the section below. I will be sharing the link for the Hbkgrand Prime and the Hbkgrand Prime as well, so you can find that as well. And this is Hbkgrand signing out. I hope you guys have a great day.